How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What up, Will?
What up?
Coming in flexing, dude. Coming in flexing. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Story of the Fight. My name is Ramiro. That is my boy, Will. And this is where we talk everything mixed martial arts and life. Anything that life throws our way.
And boy, does it throw.
Hey, but for anybody that's joining us for the first time, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It goes a long way. And if you don't like watching on YouTube or watching on Spotify, you can also listen through, Breaker Podcasts, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found pretty much. But you can also join us on social media, I think.
You think?
I think.
Yeah. It's I'll confirm that. I'll confirm that theory.
Oh,
it's
nice.
At Story of the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere. Story of the Fight everywhere.
Everywhere. And if you're like, hey, I don't remember where to find these guys, I think storyofthefight.com, right?
Storyofthefight.com takes you to all the links.
All the links, yeah.
Yeah.
Little by
Shout
little,
out
we're getting
Regen.
there.
Good morning.
Good morning, Regen, man. Good morning. But yeah, hey, night of fights. Yes. It was which UFC Vegas was this? I'm losing
64.
track. 64. I think it's UFC Fight Night 214 is what I saw in here as well. That's
Dude,
a lot
it's
of
like
fight nights.
all these fight nights. It's like back when they were on Fox, back now it's ESPN, and it's just I don't know. Who knows? They could say any number, and like, would anybody even realize if it was wrong or right?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. But hey, so we had Amanda Lemos versus Marina Rodriguez. Couple Brazilians going at it in the main event.
Yeah.
And we can go and get started talking about the fights if you want to. Unless you have anything else that's on your mind.
No.
Let's get into it then. Let's get into it. So, like I said, we had Amanda Lemos versus Marina Rodriguez in the main event. Marina, somebody that I have enjoyed watching fight, dude. Her footwork, her ability to get in and out. Lemos has been a little bulldozer.
This is volume versus power,
Volume, classic.
This fight was
classic matchup.
Yeah, classic matchup. And then Lemos said, "But check out these takedowns too."
I know, right? So, they start off the fight. I feel like there's a lot of respect shown between the two, right?
Yeah, first round was definitely feeling out.
Let's make sure we maintain our distance, and then it was like a really big feeling out process.
Well, I think what it is Lemos was like, okay, because of Rodriguez's style, I'm not gonna put too much energy into this first round because she's gonna keep going at a high pace for the whole fight. So I need to conserve my energy in this first round. And then Rodriguez was like, man, Lemos counters super strong, so I can't just like jump right into my 1-2s and my jab. She's gonna counter me super hard. And then there was really nothing that happened.
Yeah, and I feel like somebody would throw a punch and the other person would counter, and they'd take a step back and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's why I'm playing on the outside."
Hesitant.
So finish up the first round. Lemos attempts the takedown, but Marina Rodriguez is the one that ends up on top. Do you think she did enough to win that first round? Because it was so like
the first round's a toss-up. Honestly, it's a toss-up. I don't even know. The first round is an example of why there should be 10-10 rounds. It's in the scorecards. 10-10 rounds are a thing. We just literally, I don't remember the last time we had one, but how do you really give an edge to either of them in that first round? What did they actually score? What did the judges actually score? Do you know?
No, I didn't know. I didn't go through and dig into that first round afterwards, but I was just curious to ask you.
Yeah.
As to how you had
non-answer.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know, dude. 10-10? Thanks, Will. Okay,
So two judges gave it to Rodriguez, one gave it to Lemos.
Okay.
Could just be a 10-10.
Second round, Lemos comes out, gets a takedown. You see, like the picture that Rich put up right now, Marina in some serious trouble. Okay. And Lemos got to show off some ground game, which we don't get to see too often because you usually just bulldozing people.
Well, it was kind of a weird trip. She landed on the fence, right? She kind of tripped Marina, and she kind of just like ended up in like turtle position and just kind of like stayed there for a sec instead of like springing right back up, Like It was not like a scramble position where she like really tried to get back up. She just kind of accepted that position for a sec. And Lemos was like, oh, okay, I'll just hop on. Because she didn't follow her down with the trip, right? She just kind of dumped her and then jumped on her after. So it's kind of a weird, and it kind of felt like that the whole fight for Rodriguez. It seemed like she was missing like that like explosion. You know what I mean? Like when she was throwing her jab, she was throwing it kind of slow, and then Lemos could counter it. When she got dumped like that, she just kind of stayed there. She didn't spring right back up or even really attempt to. It's like she was missing like she never really got into gear, it seemed like. And Lemos did. Lemos is so explosive that it's like she just kept I mean, anytime Marina would commit to something, it was like labored, and Lemos was like that fast twitch, cracking her on it, you know, taking the back. And then even when she was trying to threaten with the choke, it was like immediate neck crank. Even it's like, I don't have it under the chin, but I'm just going to turn your head as hard as I can. And I don't know, Rodriguez just never really like got into second gear, it seemed like.
Yeah,
Did you see that too?
And then, well, I kind of just saw it from the first round because I'm used to seeing Marina start off a lot faster too with her boxing. And then going into the third, hey, HOB Comer joining us. Thanks. Region and HOB Comer, man. A couple real ones here joining us.
Yeah.
But so in the third, right, you have.
He said, terrible stoppage. Let them be Xena Warriors. Where are all the feminists now? I demand CTE equality.
There we go, man. There we go. And then, so
he also says, what's up, boys? Where are the sweet Ramiro ears? Can we get some feet or indulge in any other fetishes? Let's bring the sexy back bitches.
Oh, man. I don't know, dude. I had to keep the headphones on this time. Hey, so back to the fight. In the third round, we have, by this time, like you said, Lemos had going a lot more. She looked like she was in rhythm more. The counters were on point. And then we have Marina that kind of feints with the left and then throws the right. And before she can get the left feint back in, Lemos lands a big shot, like above her forehead. And you could see Marina gets hobbled right away. You know who else saw that?
Yeah, the ref.
And Lemos. And she just absolutely goes off, man, and starts landing shots on Rodriguez. I have to agree with HOB Comer here. I did not agree with the stoppage. Hands up. She was kind of trying to bob and weave a little bit, kind of, sort of. I don't know. I thought you could have let it go a little bit longer.
I've been in the camp of what HOB Comer's talking about, right? Where, like, I do agree that women's MMA gets stopped way sooner. It's just, it has been. Who called it out the first time? Was it Aspen Ladd who called it out?
I don't remember.
I think it was Aspen Ladd who called it out, and it was like, oh wow, I never really even thought about that. But yeah, it definitely, women's MMA gets stopped way quicker. In this situation, I still think this was a good stoppage, just by body language alone. Rodriguez was not trying to bob and weave. She got cracked the first time. She stood up straight, kind of covered up, and turned her head away, and just kind of accept. I mean, the body language alone is, I give up. You know what happened? The same thing. Michael Chandler did it back in Bellator. He got cracked. Who's it against? Will Brooks, I think, where he like went like that and like turned away, and I was like, what? But that's what I mean. That's almost what Rodriguez did. Because at first I thought,
think she was stunned for sure.
So early,
the way that she took steps back, the way you could definitely see she was stunned, and the way that she looked out,
turned away. She turned her. She still was framed up, and she turned her head away from her. That's not the rule. Is you don't stop the fight when someone's out. You stop the fight when they're not intelligently defending themselves.
I'll have to watch it again,
and turning your head away is not intelligently defending yourself. It's just
I'll have to watch it again, because there's a part where she was up against the fence, and I remember her hands being up. All I know is that I've seen fights go on a lot longer with that. I've seen fighters hurt a lot more than that, where we let them continue fighting. And I still think that who knows, because if you go back and take a look at it, they showed the slow motion replay. I don't know how many times
right now
last night. I want to say Amanda Lemos connected with like one right, but outside of that, nothing else was solid on there.
Yeah, nothing else was solid, but I just rewatched it again. She goes back, turns this way, and is like this, getting battered back and forth. Not really landing, but she's getting swung around with the punches. She turns this way, and then instead, when she turns back around, she goes, never mind, and turns back this way. She literally turns away twice. And then she complains about the stoppage, but it's like, dude, you can't turn away. I don't know. Was it
So
stopped
Marina,
sooner
what
if
do you
these were
think? You
dudes?
try to clinch or
Try to clinch, shoot for it, like grab a leg. I mean, obviously it's way easier said than done, right? If Lemos was doing that to me, I'd probably do the same shit. You know what I mean? But
I would have dropped down.
But
I
to
would have
turn
just dropped
away,
down and be like, I'm good.
yeah. But to turn away twice and then complain about the decision to stop it. If these were men, would it have been stopped there? Probably not. Should it have been? Probably. You know what I mean? Who did you have on points? The only clear round was the second round. If that round continued, Lemos had that round also, so it would have been two rounds for Lemos. The first round, it's a toss up. It's a toss up.
Yep. But I mean, Lemos has been on a tear now, man. And taking a look at what is this, 4 fights in a row or?
No, she lost to she lost to who? Andrade?
Jessica Andrade. Standing arm
triangle. She was so sick. But this is a very big win. This is her biggest win by far, right?
Yeah.
Up until this, she had the win against Angela Hill.
Marina Rodriguez was ranked 3rd going into this. Lemos was ranked 7th. So this catapults her and puts her at least into that number 3 spot, I think.
You know what you do
with her next?
You got Zhang Wei Li fighting for the belt against Carla Esparza. Thug Rose cannot just sit around, in my opinion, and get a title shot after the winner of that. So Rose Namajunas versus Lemos would be sick. That's the number 1 contender fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're Jessica Andrade, you're probably thinking like, hey, I'm still here, right? But I mean, we've already seen Jessica Andrade versus most of these other women in the top of the division. So.
And she's already booked against Lauren Murphy, which, great fight, that one.
We'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, HLB Comer says, off topic, but not really. Did you see this fight where the chick won and then jumped on the cage and showed her tits? Yeah, that was what? Ty Emery in Bare Knuckle BKFC?
Bare Knuckle.
Was it? Is that who it was?
That organization, man.
Something to think about there, Dana.
There was this Bare Knuckle again last night, and apparently the CEO had to get involved in some scuffle. Did you see that?
I did not, but all of that's staged, though. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't know, man. So they get this guy.
It happens every event. What do you mean?
This guy apparently does two intentional headbutts.
Yeah.
Gets DQ'd. I guess they're interviewing him. The dude starts going after the guy interviewing him, and filming then gets involved with like a takedown or something like that. And I'm like, what is going on, man? This is just
want to showcase his grappling, dude. He's been training.
I guess. He's been training. Put it in the man hours. That works.
Putting in the man hours. Yeah. But yeah, I think Andrade, she's fighting Andrade is fighting Lauren Murphy. I'm guessing that's at 125, right? Yeah, that's at 125. So it's like, what division is Andrade even going to stay in? Because she's kind of bounced back and forth between them.
She's ranked 4th in strawweight and 6th in flyweight.
So if she's taking a fight at flyweight right now, then I would assume what I would do at least is Lemos gets to jump that line. She just beat Rodriguez. She shouldn't have to fight Andrade again. She just lost to her, but Andrade is somewhere else. So in my opinion, Andrade is almost giving up that spot. And like you said, she's already fought everybody at the top there anyways. So yeah, Thug Rose versus Lemos would be awesome. It'd be a great fight.
Let's do it. New blood there in the top 3. I like it. All right. Anything else on the main event?
Not really.
There were some quick
shout out to Lemos. Yeah, shout out to Lemos for coming in, getting it done. She had a hard time even getting into the country. So coming into work is already at a disadvantage. Yeah.
Found a way. All right.
Found a way.
Well, before that, we had a Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod.
Yeah. In my opinion, the first official loss that should be acknowledged by D-Rod. Because I mean, he lost to Nicholas Dalby, but like he didn't actually, Dude, that's what it is. HLB Comer says Lemos looks like Halle Berry. That's totally what it is. I've been like, especially that last
I
picture that
see
was
it.
just showed.
I
I
see
was
it.
like, man, it looks so much like somebody. Yeah,
Yep. I
it's
see
there.
it. I see it for sure.
Thank you. That's been on the
Which
the
version
tip of
of
my
Holly
mind.
Berry, though? Is it like Swordfish, Holly Berry, or I don't know? Maybe HLB Comer can let us know. Catwoman. Okay. But yeah, so
Those are basketball
yes,
skills.
but I agree with you though, right?
Yeah.
This was a fight where I was like, this is going to tell us a lot about D-Rod and where he's at in his career.
First
Neil
definitive
Magny,
loss.
Yeah, Neil Magny is one of those guys that no matter what year you think about Neil Magny, he's just always been a tough out for anybody that faces him.
Yep.
And
unless
going
you're
into this, the first round, I thought, well, this was classic Neil Magny, man. The first round was classic Neil Magny. Clinching, takedowns, making it super grueling. He had that extended left arm out the entire time to kind of just maintain that distance with D-Rod. Yeah, the frame. And you see D-Rod kind of try to break that with the jump in right hook, the lead right hook, which would cause Magny to drop that a little bit. And then he'd come in with a left after that. But that first round I thought was clearly Magny.
It's a clear Magny round, and he's so good at D-Rod made the adjustment eventually, but in the first round at least, Neil Magny does such a great job, just his setups alone, right? Because he'll show some things and he'll really cover the distance with his feet. He's not sticking his chin out there. He's not leading with his chin. And then it forces you to move away, right? And D-Rod wasn't circling. He would just move straight back. And then Neil would be able to pressure him against the cage and just do that Neil Magny grind, And then the second round, I thought first round was a textbook Neil Magny round. Second round, textbook Daniel Rodriguez. That jab, Neil Magny was like that same frame, right? That he was doing was just getting punished by the jab, and it took him a while to adjust. He wasn't trying to slip the jab. He wasn't trying to counter the jab. He was just eating it over and over and over again. D-Rod, that jab is so damn good. And eventually he did counter it. But every time that he would try to do that blitz again against D-Rod, he would be able to evade it much better. And then as soon as Neil would stop, he'd hit him with that jab. And then it was just that for the whole round. He looked fantastic. And he hurt him. I think he hurt him in the second round, right?
Second round, yeah.
Looked like it wobbled him a little bit.
Just a little bit, had to take a step back too. And I think D-Rod saw it also. He was very aggressive. D-Rod, I felt like, was being very successful when he would blitz in. And the thing is, when he'd blitz in, he knew he was going to get a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was willing to take one to try to give two or three. So whenever he'd blitz in and put, a string, maybe two or three punches together, I felt like he was getting some success where at least one of those would land, like this one that you see here that Rich put the picture up of. And then we get into the third round.
And then it's a classic Neil Magny round. which is the most impressive part of it, right? Because if you win the first round, great. You impose your will, your game plan, all this stuff. But then the tide gets turned against you in the second. That's
the other team makes the adjustment.
Yeah, that's really, really hard to then adjust
and then
to
you
that
make the adjustment
and turn it back. Winning rounds 1 and 3 that's the hardest way to win. That is by far the hardest way to win. Easiest is 1 and 2. Second easiest is 2 and 3. 1 and 3 that's impressive. And then on top of that, he's like, I'm not even going to let him have the chance on the scorecards like he did with the leech, and I'm just going to choke him out.
Yeah, man. And it was very smooth the way that he was able to sink in. It was the Darce, right?
Yeah, he set it up. So he set it up standing.
Yeah, he set up standing, and by the time he even dragged him down, it was already locked in.
Yeah, it was over. And D-Rod was exhausted.
Such long, lanky arms, man. Like, just look at how tight that is right there on that picture.
Yeah, seriously. And it's
oh my God.
He with all the mat returns in this third round, he really sapped the gas tank out of D-Rod. You could tell anytime D-Rod was able to get back up, he's taking like a deep breath, and then he's back on the ground. And it's like Neil Magny, man. He's just if you let him get into his groove, it is you can't stop him.
Where's Neil Magny ranked right now?
I think they were 13 and 14 in this fight.
Yeah.
I believe they were 13 and 14. Yeah, Magny was 13, D-Rod was 14. Neil Magny makes history. He passes GSP with most wins at welterweight of all time.
Wow, he's been doing it for a while, man.
Doing it for a long time. HLB Comer says...
I guess they asked him about it in the interview, and he was like, well, man, I'm no GSP,
Yeah.
What a cool guy.
He's not wrong. HW Comer says Magny came in motivated. He acknowledged that he had too much on his plate for his previous fight and really took time to prepare properly, and it showed. Yeah, because going up against someone like Shakvat, everybody knows now, right? But he was still kind of a mystery. Like, is he running through these guys because he's elite, or is it because he's fighting guys who aren't like the elite of the elite? And Magny took that fight. Shout out Magny too, because he was calling out Hamza on his way up, calling out Shakvat. He's he'll take the fight.
He doesn't shy away.
He does not.
So, when we have other fighters that will say, I'd rather not fight for 6 or 8 months. You got Neil Magny as the dog, man. Just to say, whoever. Oh, that guy's pretty good right now? Yeah, throw him my way.
Oh, you guys think he's hyped? What happens if I take him out? And then he usually fails that test, but you got to respect him for...
Hey, but the respect is there, nonetheless.
Yeah, 100%.
Even D-Rod said, hey, if you beat Magny, it's off to the races.
Yeah, because like I said, if you
want to be considered elite, you need to beat Neil Magny.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, Magny's like, you're calling me the gatekeeper, bro? You're calling me the gatekeeper? But at the same time, it's kind of like a compliment, man, because I feel like Magny's still considered one of those elite fighters, you know? Like, you got to be able to beat him to be able to be considered elite, so.
I mean, since 2014, the only guys he's lost to are Damian Maia, Lorenz Larkin, who I thought was actually really good in his UFC run, RDA, Ponzinibbio, Chiesa, and Rachmanov. So, like, he's never lost to anybody who's, like, bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been in there, and he has some really good wins, too.
I mean, he's been in there with the who's who, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right. Well,
it's been a long career for him, too.
D-Rod will be back. Does he fall out of the top 15? No, right?
Welterweight is so bad that probably not.
You know, he stays in there. Maybe a D-Rod. Who does Michelle Pajeda have?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
He beat Ponzinibbio in May. He doesn't have anything lined up.
That'd be a fun matchup.
At least not officially yet.
A couple fun strikers in there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how D-Rod handles somebody that like unorthodox, you know?
Yep. All right.
Because D-Rod is such the opposite of an unorthodox, you know? Standard boxing, jabs. Shout out Tony. What's up, Tony? Sunday morning with the boys.
Fights with the boys. All right, man. Hey, we can move on to the next one. Tony has joined us for Tony's
I know this is the one he wanted to hear.
Nuerdanbieke versus Darrick Minner. Yes.
Controversy with this one, huh?
Oh, talk to me.
So, okay, fight starts, right? Minner comes out, throws the body kick. Immediately he's in pain.
Yeah.
Takes a couple steps back. He's like, I'm going to throw it again. Throws it again.
Like right away.
Yeah, throws it again. In more pain now. Falls down. Gets brutalized. Covers up. Should have been stopped way earlier. If this was women's MMA, it would have been stopped as soon as
I was going to say that was Marina Rodriguez. As soon as she sat down, it would have been stopped.
Yeah. Takes a battering. Is pretty much just in the fetal position blocking. There's the kick. Already in pain, you know? Yep. Looks like he's the one getting kicked, but so the fight's over.
Abs.
Yeah, the fight's over in 1 minute. Probably could have been stopped 30 seconds in. But whatever. Clearly, I mean, that's body language right there. If you look at the betting lines, let me see if I can pull this up really quick. Seems like a lot of people knew about this injury right before the fight started, and the betting lines definitely reflected it. And I think James Krause is his coach, who's also a known degenerate gambler. So I don't know if maybe his boy maybe leaked that or something, but definitely some controversy there. Kind of like the TJ thing, right? He goes in with the torn shoulder already. He's dislocating a bunch of times, and he told somebody. Somebody knew about that and made some money off that.
Rough.
I'll pull up the
hey, James Krause.
Picture.
Next time you got info like that, holla at your boy, you know?
I know. What the hell, man? You liked our post on Instagram. You won't give us these betting tips? Hey, Rich, I just put a photo in the chat, Rich. But it's interesting, man. Definitely word spread about this before the fight. HW Comer says so many injuries lately. Yeah, it's
there has been.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on, but a lot of people are getting injured.
But this had to be a previous injury, you know, because when he tries to kick Nuerdanbieke the first time, he barely like really, he barely connected with his toes, like the top of his
Yeah.
foot, toes.
I thought
And
he
he
broke his
steps
toe
back.
or something on the replay.
Me
I was like,
too.
oh, he broke his toe.
I was like, it had to have been his toe because that's the
Yeah.
part that made contact. And
The
when
only
you see
part
him
that
stepping
made
back,
contact.
holding his knee, and I was like, okay, wait a second.
And
Because
like the decision
maybe
to throw it again is just so. I wonder what was going through his mind about that.
he's like, look, if the UFC is going to pay for my knee to be fixed, it better be jacked. So let
Yeah,
me kick this. That hurt. Let me kick it again.
but
Now it's
I
really
think
jacked.
who was it on the commentary? Someone on the commentary team. They said, what did they say? They were like, he probably wanted to see if it was actually hurt or how bad it actually was when he threw it. But then you see that the betting line shifted drastically before, so like he knew. So like, then why did you throw it twice? Like, it's just kind
Yeah.
of crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know. This was weird.
It was super weird,
Yeah.
super weird. I don't know.
Well, hopefully that team over there in Kansas is rolling in the dough now.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
hold on. Let me see. The link's not working for Rich. I forgot that I can share my screen too. Give me 1 second.
All right.
It's
What are
kind
you
of
gonna do?
weird.
Is it the betting lines?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So that's the dates, right? Look at that.
wow.
That's before the fight. So something happens.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Thanks, DraftKings.
Thanks, DraftKings. Thanks, James Krause.
All right. Now that we're
Hey,
done
but
talking
do we have a
about,
doctor problem in the UFC?
you think?
I mean, all these people getting cleared with like obvious, like serious injuries. Like, what the hell's going on?
I mean, we heard Toasty talk about it, right? He's like, it depends on the doctor, it depends on
Mhm.
the commission. Sometimes they come in and just talk to you and don't check anything. The other times they,
Yeah.
they'll check your joints or whatever. But man, who knows?
It seems like the doctors also want the fights to happen, which, you know what? I'm okay with. I think
You
if
know
the
who else is
doctors
okay with
really
it?
cared,
James Krause.
yeah, I think if the doctors really cared, there'd be a lot less fights that happened. You know?
Yeah, dude, that's true. And fighters say all the time, hey, for any fighter to go in 100% healthy, no injuries, it's super rare.
Yeah.
It's super rare. So, all
Yeah.
right, man.
HLB versus Bisping fought with one eye for how long? That should tell us enough. Exactly.
100%. But
Yeah.
although that new like glossy cover that he got makes it look pretty legit, so who knows? Maybe you just throw that one on whenever the doctors are going.
Yeah.
Take the other one off. All right. Let me see. Before that, we had Ulanbekov versus Maness.
Man, feel bad for Nate. He was like, I'm going to make it down to flyweight. It was like this whole big thing. It was like a struggle for him. He did put in so much work. You could tell he did it the right way. He doesn't look like a skeleton. And just to get ran through in his flyweight debut.
Yeah, like here's your debut, and here's Ulanbekov.
Yeah. And Ulanbekov, I saw a comment that said something like Ulanbekov probably took out the frustration of that Tim Elliott fight and just put it all into this one. Because remember, he lost that Tim Elliott fight where Tim
Yeah.
Elliott like literally cheated like every single way possible, and he won.
Yeah.
And then he comes out in this one. That takedown that he landed, he closes the distance, drops to the single leg, pulls the single leg, has the GSP Hendricks, right, the slide, whereas you're on one foot and you slide.
That was awesome.
Pulls it, and then as soon as he starts pulling it, steps through, gets the trip. I mean, it was beautiful. It was so sick. And then the finish was gnarly.
Dude, the finish was awesome, man.
Yeah.
For me, I watched that transition. I rewinded it.
Yeah.
You see Maness put his feet up to try to push off when Ulanbekov postures up, and he grabs his ankles, and as he's pushing off, he lifts and moves off to the side.
Yeah.
Allows the scramble. Maness ends up in north-south. He continues scrambling. And then he like gets up on all fours trying to like get back up. And he wasn't slouching, man. Like he was trying to do it quickly. Like he was trying to be explosive. And Ulanbekov was like, no.
He's like, I got it.
And he got it, man.
I'll come up with you.
He got it. And it was an awesome guillotine, man.
The crank that he put on it. They're like, look how high his elbow is. Like, that was so nasty, man. So nasty. And look at that. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, that's
shout out to Tyone. Is that Tyone?
Probably.
Why do you got to be there?
He's right in there. Look, he is ready to go. It's awesome.
All you got to
But
do
no,
is
it
lots
was
of hands.
again. That was a perfect setup for the guillotine man, and just a lot of props to Ulanbekov. He's AKA, right?
Is he at AKA?
I'm pretty sure
I didn't know that.
AKA.
He's fighting
No,
out of
positive.
Russia. He's not fighting out of San Jose.
No? Okay.
Tapology doesn't list him at AKA, but maybe
he's worked out of there before. But what wasn't Javier Mendez in his corner?
I didn't see. I mean, he is from Dagestan, so so I wouldn't be surprised if he's at least trained at AKA.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Javier Mendez was in his corner. He was giving him props, and they were kind of laughing about how Nurmagomedov went up against Maness but couldn't finish him. He's like, yeah, well, he showed me how to finish him. That's why. And I was like, oh, okay. They're so respectful with each other over there. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Nope. Back in the
We'll
win
move
column
on to
there.
the next one. We had I was super impressed with this next performance, man. We had Grant Dawson versus Mark Madsen, the Olympian Mark Madsen.
Yeah, I was impressed with the third round. Up until here's how I went. So first round, 20 seconds in, Dawson gets dropped, just a flash knockdown, and then jumps on the single leg, eats some shots from Madsen on the single leg, but eventually gets it, out wrestles him, takes his back, sits in the backpack for the whole round. Second round, takes him down, stays on top, lands like 10 punches maybe for the whole round. And then I was like, man, in between the second and third rounds, I was like, Dawson, you gotta do more on the ground. Like, you cannot go like 2 minutes in between punches when you're on top and you're dominating on top. Like, you got to do more. And then the third round, it's like, he heard me and it was like, you want more? And then just came out Bangkok ready and just tore up Madsen's leg and just put the pressure on him. And outclassed
And I
him.
think HLB Comer says finally couldn't stand the ego of Madsen guy. Grant flex on him. And I think that's why I was so impressed with Dawson, right? Because Madsen being an Olympian wrestler, but they always say MMA wrestling is different from your standard like point wrestling. MMA jiu-jitsu is different from your regular competition jiu-jitsu. And
well, I mean, with Madsen, yeah, he's an Olympian, all this stuff, and he does have that kind of like ego stuff. But I picked Dawson going into this one because, like you said, Dawson has MMA wrestling. Madsen is like 40 years old and has a split decision win over Clay Guida. Like, the wrestling did not translate to MMA for him. It just didn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know he's going to want to grapple with Dawson, but Dawson's just going to out-grapple him, So
now that gives Madsen his first loss. Dawson only has one loss too at 19-1, man. Undefeated in the UFC.
Dawson's legit, man. Dawson is legit. Like I said, I was like, you know what? I'm not really on the hype train after the second round. There's like no threats of finishes. It's just control. I mean, it just wasn't doing much for me. And then he came out in the third round and made me shut up. That third round from Dawson, it was money. It's like he was like, I got the first two rounds. I'm just going to go out here and have fun. And then, those leg kicks, those calf kicks that he was landing, dropped him twice with calf kicks. And then, it was a nasty round from Dawson.
Yeah. So,
but for that second round, he had 4 minutes and 30 seconds of ground control, and he landed 6 significant strikes. You got to do more than that.
Yeah, for sure. But he did what he had to do, man. He did what he had to do
more than that once he got to the third. So
absolutely.
You got to give him credit.
Hey, give him a chance, right, Will? Let him get warmed up, bro.
And I want to say too, like, obviously he probably was hyper focused on the control in the second round because Madsen's an Olympian and he didn't want to give him anything, no opportunities. So it is what it is. Yeah, exactly. But I'm excited to see him next. Another wrestler at lightweight.
He's got to be breaking into the rankings, man.
It's impossible at lightweight.
Unless
he gets matched up. Will was not impressed with his performance. GSP voice. I don't know, man. Like, the first and second round, when he had the backpack in the first round, he wasn't even really attacking for chokes. It looked like he just wanted the control. I don't know. The first two rounds didn't impress me nearly as much as the third round. But ultimately, I am impressed because of that third round. I don't know. He needs to fight somebody Thiago Moises, like the only guy who fights down, but he's got a fight booked.
Yeah, well, we'll see what's next for him, but either way, I think he's going to be breaking in here pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go on to the next one. We're going to start skipping some fights here for the sake of time. I think we're covering all but two. So we're going to go to Mario Bautista versus Benito Lopez.
Bautista's fun. He is so fun to watch.
So well-rounded.
Yeah.
By the way, Benito Lopez, he reminds me of somebody, like an old fighter. I
Yeah.
can't remember who. Like, I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, just like his whole kind of demeanor and like the way, just his like
his face, his hair, like everything. Like something about him reminds me of an older fighter, and I just can't remember who it is.
Yeah,
like
I don't
an
know.
OG. Okay.
Yeah, well, I get it too though.
Yeah, as soon as I figure it out, which I'm going to text him and be like, dude, I figured it out. But dude,
or
so much
HLB
power.
Comer's going to come out and be like, it's Halle Berry.
Yeah, that's who it is. Catwoman. But so much power behind everything he was throwing. The right hook, and then going left to the body, and then he'd come up and go right hook, and then he'd go double leg takedown, and then like the 3-piece to the body. It was just a masterful performance.
That's something that he's always had, right? His combos are just so sharp. HLB Comer says Lopez did not believe in ring rust, but ring rust believed in Lopez.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Bautista, you can't start slow with him because once he gets on a roll, he's just gonna. When he's firing on all cylinders, you don't know what's coming at you. Like you said, it's body shots, it's coming up top, it's hooks, it's straight punches, it's takedowns, and then all of a sudden submission threats. I mean, Lopez just looked completely overwhelmed. He just really had no answers, you know?
Yep. And then they end up on the ground, right?
Such a cool transition.
Reverse triangle, and then he was landing a bunch of elbows from that position too.
Was this the one that he tried a straight arm lock too from crucifix? From mounting crucifix? Was that this fight?
No, I want to say that was Hadley.
Was it?
No, yeah, you're right. No, you're right. It was Bautista.
So cool. You rarely see that.
It's in my notes. So I don't know why.
I need to start taking notes.
Oh man, yeah. So it was definitely him, man. But I was super impressed with that performance.
Very impressed. But Bautista kind of always does that.
Leonard
Garcia. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right.
Was that in your notes?
Me so much. No. I was like, dude, who? I was trying to think back, and I was like, what's the time? And I was like, you know what? It's the guy that fought Korean Zombie. And so I looked up Korean Zombie right now. I was like, dude, that's what it is, Leonard Garcia.
Yeah. Well, how about Bautista, man? This is a nice cap to the year for him, dude. This is his third win, 2 submissions. That's pretty great.
That's a pretty good year.
It's a good year.
Yeah, we still got another month.
And against some names too, man. Jay Perrin, Brian Kelleher, and then now Lopez. Kind of a step down from Kelleher, in my opinion, but to get another finish on the year right before the end of the year.
Again, there's another month left. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Bautista, lock one in. Come on.
Let's go for 4.
Why not? All right. Let's go on to the next fight now.
Holy smokes, we have
I know. Viana versus Frey.
Yeah. A good stoppage in women's MMA.
I might be in love.
Yeah, I know. Jinh Frey is like totally your type.
No, wait, hold on. Time out, dude. That's
fine, dude. It's fine.
Polyana Viana is who I was talking about. Dude, coming in, first off, absolute smoke show. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's going into this fight, and the thing I was like, dude, Polyana Viana, come on, what do I know that name from again? And I remember she was getting mugged in Brazil.
Oh, that Mm-hmm.
She was getting mugged in Brazil, and she got beat up, or she beat up the dude that was trying to mug her.
Yeah, broke his arm too, I think, right?
That's what I don't know. I just remember reading it. I think we have the picture there, Rich.
Oh.
But yeah, he was really close to me, so I thought if it's a gun, he won't have time to draw it. So I stood up, I threw 2 punches and a kick. He fell, then I caught him in the rear naked choke. And I sat him down in the same place we were before and said, now we'll wait for the police. Dude, how badass is that, man?
I know, dude.
How badass is that? And then she goes on and she treats Jinh Frey like she's about to try to mug her.
Yeah. I'm sure the guy will say it was worth it. It's HB Comer. But yeah, I picked Viana in this one. I thought she was going to win. I knew. I thought she was going to finish her, but I imagined she was going to submit her. And I think Jinh Frey kind of didn't respect the striking a little bit because she came in a little bit more like open.
She does now.
And yeah, she does now. If she remembers, but she came in and just wide open. And then there was a time where she threw like a barrage, and Viana just kind of stepped back and caught her with one, and I was like, oh no. Like, this is not going to go well. Like, she's going to keep getting hit. And then the next combo, she does the same exact thing. She blitzed in. She steps back, bam, switches stances, the follow-up shots, drops her, and lands the hammer fist on the side, just out cold.
It was beautiful. If you go back to the last picture, Rich, go back to the one where she's throwing the knee. This one right here. So this is where Frey initially tried to come in with that right. Viana lands that knee right to the chest, and you see Frey take a step back.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, damn, wasn't expecting that one. And then right after that, she tried to blitz in before Viana landed that crazy-ass combo. Dude, a thing of beauty, man.
Yeah.
The thing that I loved, like, when they went back and they showed in slow motion was her footwork, just walking in. Walking her in as she's throwing punches. She was extremely balanced the entire time. Never lost balance. So if Frey did respond with anything and answer with anything, she wasn't out of position to where she was going to get dropped. You know what I mean? So it was just beautiful technique on the way in also. And then, yes, like you said, all I could picture is Frey with the Windows startup music or the shutdown sound, you know? And then she comes, lands a hammer fist, and I hear that sound again. And she lands another hammer fist. Because did you notice? Like, she tried to sit up, and she was like, oh, I'm out. And she tried to sit up again. She goes, oh, I'm out again. And then she stands up again. I'm like, and then
she just looks so confused too.
Like, in my notes, I put down, like, man, she's just out of it, looking extremely confused. Viana goes up and just kisses her forehead and walks off, like, with her hands up. And if you see Frey's face as she kisses her forehead, she's like,
what the fuck?
What's going on?
Like, were we fighting? Why is she kissing me?
Oh, dude. Oh, it was rough, man. It was rough. So,
shout out HLB Comer in the comments. Maybe we don't put that one on the screen, but because we're a family show, but I respect the comment.
Classic. All right.
But yeah, that was a good one. Jinh Frey probably retired at this point. You know, fell to 11-8, 37 years old. It's not gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, it's a little rough. So she lost to your girl, Vanessa Demopoulos, before that. By the way, I know you follow her Instagram, but Vanessa Demopoulos recently in a sumo wrestling match. So I'm sure you probably want to go back and see that one.
Oh, that's before the one that she should have won that, though. That split decision. She actually should have won that fight.
I thought you were talking about the sumo match. But before that, she had beat Gloria DePaula, Ashley Yoder, and then she's on a 2-fight losing streak now after Demopoulos and Viana. So,
yeah, it's tough. 37 years old.
Tough out there. All right. The next one we're going to cover, and I believe it's the last one we're going to cover, will be Jake Hadley versus Carlos Candelario.
Fun fight.
It was exhausting to watch.
Dude, Jake Hadley, this is what I was hoping for when Jake Hadley signed. And then, he just got smothered in his UFC debut. But this is
we're actually covering 2 fights, 2 more fights. This one and another one after that.
Yeah, this fight, anytime you pair him up with a striker who's just going to go to work with them, it's just going to be fun. And it's not like he blew through him, like Candelario had some good moments. He did land on him a couple times, made him kind of realize, like, oh, I should respect this guy a little bit. Good body kicks from Candelario, but Hadley, just once you let him work, man, and he gets in that flow state and he's got that cross guard and he's slipping shots and landing hit, like, just so much fun to watch and just nonstop.
Yeah. I feel like Candelario had a hard time with that, high elbow guard.
Yeah.
And you could see him kind of trying to make an adjustment. He started trying to throw the step in elbow to try to break through that. And he did that a few times. That didn't really work. Yeah. And then I'm sure, and there's a step in elbow right there, but the corner going in the second round was like, hey, that opens up the body shot sometimes, So if you get some solid feints in, you could throw a body shot here and there, kick and some body kicks, and it started working for him a little bit. But the pace that Hadley had going the entire time, that's what I'm saying. It was exhausting to watch. I got tired watching.
You look at the stats. Round 1, Candelario landed 58 strikes. Hadley landed 50. That's a round 1. That's insane.
Oh, jeez.
No
That is
feeling out
nuts.
process. They're just going to war.
Yeah.
And then the
That's
second
more
round,
strike than Dawson probably through the entire fight, actually.
yeah, it is. And then Hadley, second round, 40 significant strikes. Candelario, 11. So the tides shifted quick. And the takedown, Candelario lands a takedown. Hadley ends up just setting up this triangle, and the way he set it up
Immediately.
was so cool. Yeah, it was so cool. He sets it up, locks him in, and then he's like, I'm not even gonna try to sub you. He's like, I'm just gonna start elbowing you in your forehead, and then eventually I'll get it. But I'm not gonna worry about the arm. I'm not gonna push it this way for an armbar. I'm not gonna try to get it across for the choke. I'm just gonna start landing elbows on you. It was so gnarly.
Yeah,
So
and then
gnarly.
you hear DC like, if he just moves that right arm over to the side, and he's like, nope, elbow,
Yeah,
elbow,
keep
elbow. I was like, oh god.
So
Candelario's
gnarly.
probably thinking like, bro, just move my arm over, please.
Yeah,
Just move it over. It's right here. It was rough, man.
Yeah.
But it was a fun fight.
Yeah, 2 rounds, 90 significant strikes for Hadley. Gnarly. And like,
Nuts, man.
let's just, he's one of the same guys. I believe his manager is the same as Patty's. Maybe not, but they both come from Cage Warriors. And it's like, just let him fight guys like Patty has been fighting,
Gradual ascension.
Gradual ascension, just pair him up with strikers. Like,
Do that with my girl Viana too, please. Just gradual ascension.
I just want to see him work. It's just fun to watch.
Yep.
Yeah,
hopefully we see him back in soon.
Yeah.
All right, now this truly is going to be the last fight we're going to cover.
Yeah.
For reals this time. And it was Vidal versus Pascual.
Yeah, it's a tough one out there for Pascual. She misses weight. And it's like, man, for my picks, I was like, do you pick the guy who missed weight? Also, we should also mention that Grant Dawson missed weight as well. And as a wrestler,
I think there was 5 fighters that missed weight.
Yeah. But
5 fighters that missed weight for this event.
When your game plan is pressure wrestling and you miss weight, massive advantage.
100%.
Pascual, not so much. She misses weight, and it's like, just go to the body, because there's a reason she missed weight. Something's up, This was her 4th fight in the year. Like, she can make weight, so something's up.
Mm-hmm.
And Vidal instead comes in headhunting in the first round, and Pascual is just lighting her up with straight punches every time she got close.
Everything that Vidal was throwing was like off to the side, and then Pascual was like, "Okay, just straight down the middle,
just lighting you up straight down the pipe." And I was like, "Oh man, this is because that's something that Pascual usually does. She gets cracked and then she starts hooking. Right? She's like, her arms are just stuck like this, and she's turning her whole torso when she's punching." But instead of this one, she's moving back and she's landing straight punches. And I was like, ooh, that's some good work. And then the second round, Vidal was like, I'm just going to light you up to the body. So nasty.
That flying knee, man.
Yeah.
Where she just switched it midair,
Well, because she lands the knee in the tie clinch. She lands the left knee. They separate. And then she runs at her for the flying knee. And then she's like, just kidding. Straight to the chest. And it just shuts her down. Shuts her down.
Brutal.
Yeah. Early stoppage because of women's MMA? Or did her body language give up the fight?
No. In this case, she did nothing but stay on all fours and just look up at Vidal and thought like, please, Lord, don't let this monster come at me anymore. A little bit different. All fours. Never got up off all fours. She was done. All right. That was it for all the fights. And now we go on to the much anticipated moment of silence from Will.
Yeah, moment of silence. We got it kind of big one. We only lost fun fights on this card. There was no fights that got pulled off this card that I was like, it doesn't really matter. Gelson Almeida versus Maxim Grishin. Grishin pulled out. He was a late minute replacement anyways, though, and he's fighting an absolute murderer, so I don't really blame him. I think it's the second time they've been paired up, and he's pulled out now. So it's kind of weird. Gelson Almeida has been faced off against Grishin twice now. Grishin has pulled out twice. So they're like, instead of that, we're going to and the reason they got paired up is because Shamil Abdurakhimov was supposed to fight Gelson Almeida. He pulls out for the 3rd time against Almeida. So they're like, oh, who's somebody else that has pulled out against Almeida? Let's pair them up. So then they pair him up. He pulls out, and then like, we're not going to remake that fight. Gelatin's going to fight Shamil, and we'll see if that fight happens. But then Chase Sherman versus Parisian fell through like what, the night before?
Yep.
Yeah, kind of a bummer. Just heavyweight swinging and banging. And then the big one, Bryce Mitchell versus Evloev. Evloev had to pull out.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing Bryce Mitchell in there again.
Especially against Evloev. What a fun matchup. That's a great matchup.
And then, like you said, even though it was only 3, there's a lot of fun fights that we lost, right?
Yeah.
But that created a little opportunity for others to bonus, where some of these might have bonused.
Maybe. I don't know. Because they did performance of the night, right? Magny gets one for turning the tides against D-Rod and subbing him. Bautista gets one for just completely outclassing Lopez. Viana gets one for hopefully retiring Jinh Frey. Vidal gets one for her flying knee to the body knockout, which is awesome. No fight of the night. What about your boy Candelario and Hadley? That was clearly fight of the night.
That was a pretty good fight.
At least a bonus. Good fight.
Yeah,
like what the hell? At least. I don't know. That's kind of crazy to me that Hadley didn't get it. And
not enough blood. Dano sitting on the side saying not enough blood. He
those
tried.
Those elbows,
yeah, you definitely tried. All right, man. So that's it for UFC Fight Night 2010 or whatever one we're on. 214. Next week.
Next week, we got some fights. Adesanya versus Behera. Why does the poster look like a promo for like a strip club?
It reminded me of the old school 80s school pictures, where like you have one, like your face right here, you're facing the camera, and the other one's kind of like faded in the background. Yeah. That's exactly what it reminded me of. By the way, I have a poster like that just for one of my fantasy football teams, so I'll have to show it to you after. But that's what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
100%.
It 100% reminds me of like hey, come here for the meet and greet after party at the so-and-so club. All these fighters are going to be there.
That's
just
awesome.
An awful poster.
UFC Social Lounge.
Just
dude,
awful.
Whoever does them for one, they have to hire that person.
No, Ryzen. Ryzen has the best one.
Ryzen's really good.
The comparison between the Bellator poster for the New Year's Eve event when it's Bellator versus Ryzen, and it's just like it's kind of like this, and you're like, what the hell? And then Ryzen's just like a samurai facing off against like a gladiator, and you're like, fuck, that's awesome.
That's awesome. But dude, this card is actually pretty stacked. So we have Izzy versus Alex Pereira, Carlos Esparza versus Zhang Weili.
I'm not going to pretend. Look, Zhang Weili versus Carlos Esparza. Are we pretending like this is going to be a good fight?
I'm excited to see Zhang Weili back in there, man.
100%. But are we pretending like it's going to be a good fight? Or are we?
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see Zhang Weili fight. Whenever she fights, I enjoy it.
100%. I'm excited to see her fight, but what a matchup.
Hey, don't take it away from Carlos Esparza, the Cookie Monster.
What a matchup.
Dawson Poirier versus Michael Chandler.
That's the matchup.
Boy, Frankie Edgar versus
Frankie Edgar retirement fight.
Yeah. Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. That's another good one.
Yeah. Puelles is he's legit. I hope people realize this might be a coming out party for him.
How about your boy Brad Rydell's in this too?
Brad Rydell versus Renato Moicano. What a fun
City
matchup
kickboxing, man, being represented in this card.
Dominic Reyes is back in action against Ryan Spann. What a match! That's a sleeper right there. Dominic Reyes, Ryan Spann, I don't think gets enough credit. That's a very fun matchup.
And look, I respect the time off that Dom has taken, right, to get healthy again, to be mentally prepared for another fight. A lot of props. I know a lot of people have forgotten just how good Dominic Reyes truly is, man. So I'm excited to see him this upcoming week. We have Meatball Molly
versus Aaron Blanchfield. Decent fight. Wellington Turman versus Petrosky. Not a big fan of Petrosky, if I'm being honest.
I know you're not
a huge fan. But Matt Favola versus Ottman Azatar is a
banger. Favola. By the way, hey, his picture on Tapology, does he look like every James Bond villain in the world?
I know, yeah.
Like ever in every movie, James Bond villain, that's him.
Hey, but man, Matt Favola, HB Comer says, how many kings will there be left after UFC 281? It's going to be interesting. But Matt Favola versus Ottman Azatar, that is what people need to be focusing on the prelims. That is the fight. Ahmed Azatar back after his weird potato gate remember that? He left the bubble during COVID, during like the peak of COVID. They went over to Abu Dhabi
with like the
Fight
mafia
Island.
or something like that.
Yeah, they smuggled in a suitcase or like a bag or something. They're like, "What the fuck was in the bag?" And they're like, "It was potatoes." And you're like, "What the fuck is happening? What do you mean it was potatoes?"
Potato
Like,
gate, man.
They cut him from the UFC. He's got crazy mob ties, so he's back, obviously. But him versus Matt Frevola is such a good matchup. I cannot wait for that fight.
You have Karolina Kovacevic versus Silvana Juarez.
That's not too
Dude,
bad either. You know why?
It's good.
Because both of them pretty much only have an overhand, and they're both going to swing at each other.
Overhand.
It's going to be amazing.
Just back and forth.
Yeah.
Mike Trizano, dude, I always enjoy watching Mike Trizano
Against
fight.
Sungwoo Choi, that's a good fight too.
That's what I'm saying.
Oldberg is on the card.
Dude.
Okay.
Against Nick
Montel
Muriano.
Jackson. Bro, what happened to Montel Jackson? Where's he been?
I don't know. But I know where he's going to be at UFC 281.
He's legit, man. Montel Jackson's legit. That's a good card.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to be such a good card all the way around.
The only bad fight, the only two fights that don't really like do much for me are the Petrosky versus Turman and
Zhang Weili.
Well, like I don't know,
You're
the
a
Zhang
Zhang
Weili
Weili
fight.
hater.
It's just not an interesting matchup to me. I'm a Zhang Weili truther, but it's just kind of a layup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it'll be cool to
She's
see
been
her get
working with
finished.
Henry Cejudo, so we'll see.
No,
man.
no, I'm not saying it. Look, I'm excited to watch it because I want to see Zhang Weili perform, and she's going to have a showcase. That being said, it's just kind of like a non-matchup. Carla Esparza
do you think
definitely
she's
got
just
the
going to
belt.
steamroll over Carla Esparza?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you think it's going to be competitive?
I don't know, man. I think we're going to know in the first minute. If Carla
We're going to
Esparza
know
is
in the
able to
first 10
take,
seconds.
if she's able to take Zhang Weili down in the first minute,
She won't.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to see it. This is why I'm excited.
Not.
And then after the first minute, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Shout out to the
HOB Cover says the MMA gods demand a Carla sacrifice, and they shall get it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Let's not pretend like this is going to be a competitive fight. Like it's just not, dude.
Oh, man, Cookie Monster, come on, bro. With that nickname?
I mean, she. To be fair, she really did take charge and steamroll to get the belt. You know, she really earned that belt.
Steamrolled everybody she fought. Look, let's go back and look at her record. Rose Namajunas steamrolled her.
Steamroller, yeah.
Yan Xiaonan, a ground and pound
Actually,
crucifix.
To be fair, that was a very good win.
That was a very good performance. Marina Rodriguez steamrolled to a split decision. Michelle Watterson steamrolled to a split decision. Dude, I am telling you, she's on fire right now. So
come on,
you're just hating. All right, that's all I got, man. Do you have anything else?
No, but yeah,
all right.
That's a fun card.
Shout out to Regen. Shout out to HOB Comer. Shout out Tony for joining us. It's always fun whenever y'all join and give us your input as well. That being said, if this is the first time anybody's tuning in, YouTube, right? Like,
YouTube,
subscribe.
Definitely.
Hit the notification bell. Spotify, Breaker, Podcast, Radio Public, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found. And then social media.
Yeah, it's at Story the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere. Signed up for the beta for Blue Sky Social. We'll see if we get in before that goes live. It'd be nice.
What is that?
That's Dorsey's new. Dorsey's the guy who created Twitter, and then he stepped down as CEO. They sold it, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm going to make a new Twitter. So,
oh, dang.
Signed up for the beta. We'll see if we get in.
Nice. And
nice to be the first MMA podcast on it.
Oh, that'd be sick. And if y'all end up connecting with us in social media, it's always nice whenever you send any ideas as well, right? Like we had HOB Comer sending a couple different ideas of either things that we should talk about, posts, different segments. So we really appreciate that.
Well, we got to give a shout out. It can't be said enough. HOB Comer, the way when he first found us, he left a comment saying, you guys need to do this better. Your intros suck. You got to do this better. You got to do this better. And we're like, okay, cool. That's all really good feedback. Very good feedback. Thank you.
So we take all feedback. Feedback, and we try to do something with it. So greatly appreciate it. And just so everybody knows, this podcast right here, this podcast is produced by Richard Bustos. Yeah, in case you're wondering. Is that people booing, or I couldn't tell? All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another week. The Story of the Fight.